They were once exactly your age. They had the same fears you have now, the same restless nights, the same quiet longing to figure out who they were supposed to become. And somewhere between then and now, that version of them got buried under decades of life, and you never got to meet them. That might be the most quietly heartbreaking gap between generations that almost no one talks about. You probably know your grandparent as the person who sits in a particular chair, who asks the same questions at every family dinner, who moves a little slower than they used to and seems to live at a different pace than the rest of the world. But before all of that, they were someone in their 20s, sitting in a room much like yours, wondering if they were making the right choices, falling in love in ways that terrified them, carrying ambitions that no one around them fully understood. They had a version of the same arguments you have. They felt the same mix of confidence and doubt that lives in you right now. Psychology has a name for what happens when we fail to see the people who raised us as full human beings with their own complete inner lives. It is called the illusion of asymmetric insight, and it describes the way we tend to believe we understand others better than they understand us, while simultaneously knowing far less about them than we think. When it comes to elderly grandparents, this illusion runs particularly deep. We see the end of a story and forget that there was an entire novel before the final chapter. Here is the moment that probably brought you here. Maybe you were sitting across from your grandmother at a table, or next to your grandfather in the car, and something small happened. A quiet comment they made, a photo you stumbled across, a story they started, and then seemed to think better of finishing, and you felt this sudden awareness that you did not actually know who this person was before they became yours, before they became grandma, before they became grandpa, before they belonged to you. That feeling is not just curiosity. That is, your instincts telling you something important is slipping away before you have reached for it. Research into what psychologists call generativity shows that one of the deepest needs of older adults is not just to be cared for, but to be known. To feel that the life they lived, with all of its texture and struggle and small triumphs, has been witnessed by at least one person who will carry it forward. And here is what the research makes very clear. When that need goes unmet, when they sense that the younger people around them only see the elderly version and not the whole person, it creates a specific kind of loneliness that is different from ordinary loneliness. It is the loneliness of feeling like a stranger in the eyes of people you love most. What they wish you understood is something they may not have the language for, something they might even feel strange admitting, because who asks their grandchild to see them as a young person? But the truth is that inside the body you visit, inside the person who moves carefully through the world now, there is still someone who once ran toward things, who once stayed up all night because life felt enormous and urgent, who once made choices under pressure with no guarantee of how they would turn out, the same way you are doing right now. They are not a different species. They are a future version of a past version of something very close to you. They wish you knew that when they tell you a story from 60 years ago, it is not because they are stuck in the past or because they have run out of things to say. It is because that story still lives in them with the same weight it always had. Time does not flatten feeling. The embarrassment of a mistake made at 22 can feel just as immediate at 82. The memory of falling in love for the first time does not become historical. It remains personal, sensory, present in the body, in ways that have no clean translation into words. They wish you knew that when they look at you, they sometimes see themselves so clearly it is almost disorienting. They watch you navigate something they once navigated, and they feel the strange combination of wanting to protect you from what they know is coming and respecting that you have to find out for yourself, because they remember what it felt like when the older people in their lives could not let them make their own mistakes. They wish you understood that one of the reasons they repeat certain stories is not because memory has failed them. but because those stories are the places where they still feel most like themselves. Reminiscence is not confusion. It is identity maintenance. It is a person returning to the moments where they felt most fully alive, most clearly defined, most certain of who they were, because the present offers fewer of those anchors. What you can do is simpler than you might expect, and it costs nothing except a little time and genuine curiosity. The next time you are with them, in their kitchen or sitting beside them at a family gathering or talking on the phone on a quiet afternoon, ask them what they wanted to be when they were your age. Not what they became, what they wanted. Ask them what scared them most in their 20s. Ask them what kind of music they played too loud. What they did when something broke their heart the first time. What the world looked like to them when everything still felt open and possible. Ask as if you actually want to know, because here is the thing, you do. You just have not tried yet. And when they tell you, listen without looking for the lesson. Listen the way you would listen to a friend telling you about a formative experience, with real attention, with the occasional question that shows you followed what they said, with the kind of presence that communicates that this story matters to you, not because it teaches you something, but because they are the one telling it. That single shift, from seeing them as an elder to seeing them as a person who was once exactly where you are, can change the entire texture of your relationship with them. It moves you from caretaker instinct into something closer to true companionship. And for them, it offers something no medication, no routine, no amount of comfortable furniture can provide. It offers the feeling of being fully seen. The people who raised you were once young and uncertain and full of questions, the same ones you carry now. The distance between your life and theirs is not as wide as it looks. It is mostly just time, and time is something you still have a chance to spend with them. Understanding who they were is one of the most generous things you can offer the person they have become.